Pi 4 is coming out because Cluster came out before the release of.
All right, nice. I'm just waiting for the stream to pop up on my browser here because we're already live streaming.
Awesome.
All right, perfect. Let me get this window up, share the link out.
Sweet, so everything's all good now for the live stream?
Yeah, I just want to share it to the Retropie official group and a couple other sources. It will be golden. All right.
Are you streaming quietness right now?
The mic isn't on mute. Give me a second.
Oh, it's on mute?
Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is Kiodiekin, and today I have a special guest with me, Weird Dirty Gaming. Say what's up, man.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so as you guys all know, the new Raspberry Pi 4 has recently came out. It released yesterday, and I am aware that there are a few people out there already doing reviews because they already received one. But I do believe the official or slated release is for next week sometime. I also understand that there are some individuals that have been promised to get theirs this week. So one of the major concerns that everybody's been having with the new Raspberry Pi 4 coming out is, can Retropie be converted over for use? So before we actually get into that topic, we're going to talk a little bit about the specs and what this new board offers in comparison to the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. So currently, as we know, the board costs anywhere between $35 to $99, depending upon which kit you decide to get. The board boasts 4 gigabytes. You can get it in either 1 gigabyte, 2 gigabytes, or 4 gigabytes of memory. It has a 1.4 gig core quad core processor. It comes with 2 USB 3.0 ports in addition to 2 USB 2.0 ports. You also get your Wi-Fi. I believe the Wi-Fi has also been ramped up on this as well. And the new surprising feature that's been added to this, which is kind of a customary standard now, is that it does support 4K 60 frames per second video on here as well. And they also upgraded the connector type on this for the power supplies using a USB-C type power supply, which is very reminiscent or resembles, or it actually is like the Samsung connector that you use for your Samsung phones and also your portable storage devices. A lot of people have questions with this in regards to the Retropie community. Can you run Killer Instinct with this? How will this compare to the new to the Odroid XU4? So we're just going to have a little bit of talk about this here for the next few minutes because there are a lot of questions out there. And Dirty Gaming is one of the lead developers in the community that helps get stuff working and working correctly. So I just thought I'd bring him on to go ahead and openly discuss this. So Dirty Gaming, tell us a little bit about what you feel about the new unit and what do you think that'll need to be, take place in order to get Retropie running on this efficiently?
So what I know in the community so far, talking to quite a bit of developers that I'm part of. As we all know, I'm part of the Supreme team that makes, the Supreme builds, and we also know, quite eligible developers, and we're told so far that Retropie should not be backwards compatible. It makes sense that way because if you understand Pi 3 to 3B plus, there was an issue. You'd boot the image up and you'd get the rainbow screen or nothing. And that's because they updated Raspbian from 8 to 9, so Jesse to Stretch. And there was, a little bit, some steps that were confusing to some new users where you type in some command line interface and, type in, like update and sudo this and that, Jesse to Stretch. But you have to do this on older hardware. You basically update your build to Stretch from Jesse on the Pi, for example, 3 to work on Plus, basically. So that's going to be pretty much similar to what I'm thinking and what the community is thinking that I've talked to so far, is that we're going to be needing to update the image from Stretch to Buster, as that's the new code name for the image itself, Raspbian. So it went from Jesse Stretch to Buster. Kind of made a joke about Jesse stretched Buster. But it's not going to be a long process. The Supreme, so you do have a Supreme build, which, like, for example, the Arcade 1-Up version that you made, Key, build, or the new Ultra that Retropie made. The online toolkit. Yeah, the online toolkit already includes the update for the new build. So what you would do is you would go into the online toolkit, go to Fixes, and it'll say Update to Buster. You would click that, run that on your Pi 3 Plus or 3, and then when you get your new model of the Pi in the mail, you would simply insert the card, and the image should work out of the box, which is pretty unique to have that feature already. A lot of you tell you now are going to have difficulty entering those commands, and I know it's not too many. I can actually give you the exact amount of commands you have to run. Let me just check here quickly. So the script I created so far has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 commands you'd have to enter in. For me, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Like, again, a new user having to open up the or so forth to enter these commands, and it's going to get confused. I know it's a very simple process. It is difficult for a new user. And once again, Supreme Online Toolkit does already have the updater built in from Stretch to Buster. So if you are a Supreme user, as we speak right now, I would recommend you guys run the command, update your build, get it ready for Buster, and then within a couple of months, I say we'll basically make a new base with update already. But again, that's going to take some time, as all know, stock is limited, and it was kind of a surprise for a lot of people. So the expense is not in everybody's budget, like myself. So I have to kind of wait.
Right. So I know Dirty Gaming's kind of cutting in and out a little bit. So pretty much, I know what he's basically saying. For those of you guys who are trying to listen in and hear that there's several updates that need to be done, and for somebody like him, it's easy, but for the end user, is not going to be easy. And currently, as of right now, Retropie will not work with the new Raspberry Pi 4 board. So the devs in the community have to add some command lines in order to make it to work, which kind of happened between the 3B and the 3B Plus. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's basically correct. But there are some people in the community saying that it should be backwards compatible. And you know what? The developers that I talk with could all be wrong. They could be backward compatible. No, for sure, right? Because I'm actually on the Pi. But from all the previous updates, every time a new Pi board comes out, we have a compatibility issue, right? For example, out right now, there's 2 versions of Retropie, like, and for the Pi 0 and the 2, and then, you know, the 3 Plus on Retropie's official website, right?
Of course.
And that's because, you know, different boards have different needs. Basically, I'm just trying to simplify it. There's more advanced term for it. It's basically they need different requirements to work. And that's what the communities think. Like, I've talked to some pretty well-known developers that have made some massive improvements to Retropie, and they've told me themselves firsthand they think that the builds are not going to be backwards compatible because they compared Buster with Stretch, and there was quite a bit of difference when they updated the source with the new command. They were getting new changes in the logs and stuff. So they have a strong feeling that it's not going to be backwards compatible, but we can't guarantee anybody this information because we don't currently own one. So if the community finds out, you know, it's backwards compatible, sweet. You know what I mean? It's sweet. But I'm not going to remove the update feature in Retropie that I added to the online toolkit for Supreme because you're going to want to update from Stretch to Buster anyways to support the hardware, right? Like the dual HDMI and, you know, the hardware support that the operating system has been updated for, right? Because Stretch doesn't have that ability as we speak right now, but Buster does.
Right.
Yes, it's kind of a beta right now, Buster, but we have to wait and see, right?
Right. Now, I know since primarily most of us, if you guys didn't know, Raspberry Pi isn't just officially for retro gaming. I have a cousin of mine. He uses it to track airplanes. Other people use it for restaurants, the menu screens in restaurants. Other people use it for pool applications to run swimming pools and things of that nature. Now, I know for most of my subscribers out there currently listening right now, you guys are wondering exactly how powerful this device is. Can you run Killer Instinct? Can you run Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and several other games? I've been told that Pi 0 can run Killer Instinct, and this has more specs on it than the Pi 0. But, you know, personally, I'm not sure because I do know that it has that additional CHD file that's required to run. But I do know it should run Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast pretty easily because I do believe the one on the Odroid XU4 runs pretty nicely. And it runs okay on the Retropie 3B Plus. Is just a little bit of screen tearing and stuff going on, which is why I didn't include it in my Supreme 1-Up build. So,
that's going to actually happen as well on the new Raspberry Pi 4. I know it has better hardware, but there's so much work that has to go into, you know, enhancements of the codecs and so forth. Because there's people complaining that already have it and have Buster installed, and they already experience screen tearing. The 4K doesn't work; it's fuzzy. Like, a lot of problems as we speak already. People that already own the board.
Do you know if the 4K 60 frames per second, what video drivers they are using, like NVIDIA or something of that nature?
I have no clue. I don't own it at the moment. I own it. He said it's not 4K 60 frames right now. We'll go on to YouTube and try to play a video on the OS, which is Buster, eBay, and it's not 4K 60. It's really, really bad. It looks like a 240p when playing, which like wow.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was talking about in the Retropie forum on the Facebook page. Was that even though people don't realize how much power it requires to render or even display 4K 60 frames per second. I believe I have a short video clip you guys may have seen in one of my splash videos. I rendered it at 4K 60 frames per second, and it took 2 hours and 40 minutes from my computer and my video card to render it, almost 3 hours. And even if you log on to YouTube and you try to stream a video that's 4K, 4K period, you could get some lag issues. So to have a device, now I know the NVIDIA, what is it? The NVIDIA, not the NVIDIA Shield, but that NVIDIA single board computer they came out with a few months ago. I know that one can stream, or not only stream, but also play back 4K 60 frames per second. But even currently on my computer, I have to make sure I use a specific program to play back 4K 60 frames per second, just so it could just play right without any hiccups.
Yeah, it's hardware acceleration and stuff, right? And software acceleration. It's basically like how OBS works, right? They kind of have that same technology. I'm trying to simplify it, but it's a much more advanced terms for it. But it's just acceleration, right, of the hardware and the software, depending on which one they're using, right?
Right.
It could be the hardware and software acceleration for the 4K. But we don't know, right? I really want to get my hands on one and see for myself. But like again, I do know someone that has one. They try playing 4K video. It is horrible. It's not even worth the time. The dual screen, there's a hiccup when they're trying to pull the mouse from one side of the screen to the other one. It sometimes doesn't show up. Like it's just a dummy image, like a photo opened up.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. Because
Yeah.
I do know that feature will be implemented into Retropie, either by Retropie themselves, like for example, dual playing games, or like Retropie, or being able to watch a YouTube video while you're playing a retro game on one screen.
Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing too, because I recently just got my GoPro Hero 7 a few weeks ago, and I experienced hiccups when I was playing the video feedback, and I was like, my computer should be able to do it, but what I found out was it was the actual video player that wasn't able to render or play back 4K 60 frames per second. So when I put it in Premiere or I used CyberPower 18 DVD player, that rendered it fine as far as a playback. But a lot of other programs just couldn't do it, and I thought it was the GoPro 7. I was getting ready to take it back. So I don't know. I think maybe they're reaching as far as the playback feature, but yeah.
But with everything with the new Pi 4 coming out, I am gonna hopefully make a video this weekend sometime and show people the process of updating their Pi 3 builds now to Buster, because that's going to be a needed video, right? Because a lot of people are going to be looking on the web and they're going to find, tutorials. They're going to try it and they're going to damage their Pi. So if they have a visual of it being done, it's going to better help them, right? Because some people like to skip steps, and we all know. Because in every RetroPie group that I'm personally a part of, I've seen, I think there's 3-4 RetroPie groups out there, and they all say the same thing, right? They're saying, don't do these updates until RetroPie officially releases an update. But again, there's going to be people out there that don't want to wait. They're going to push the button and jump onto the bandwagon, I should say.
Yeah, that's true. And that's another thing for you guys out there who are into retro gaming. You should probably wait a good month and a half or 2 months, to do it, because
you know what's funny as well, which makes no sense to me, is that everybody that's buying a retro, or a RetroPie, not RetroPie, sorry, buying a Raspberry Pi 4,
right,
they're buying it for retro gaming, but as we speak right now, they're buying a brick because there's nothing or they're a fortune. And to me, it seems silly. Well, everybody's jumping onto it, right? They should wait, like you said, month, 2 months, or the like what the rush, if it's nothing for it, right?
Right. Yeah, what Dirty Gaming was saying was everybody should just kind of wait, and it's interesting because a lot of the devs they tried to order one and they're all sold out, and so a lot of people in the community who are in the retro gaming really need to appreciate the fact because in order to really make Retropie run as far as retro gaming, the devs got to get their hands on it first, and the community has already kind of went out there and
clean the stores.
Yeah, clean the stores, took them all before they can get their hands on them.
Yeah, would you buy a car? Like, would you buy a car without testing it? You know what I mean? That's what's happening right now.
Right.
Right. There's no official videos of Retropie running on it as we speak. This board doesn't even support Retropie. What happens if the Raspberry Pi Foundation doesn't want Retropie to be on their hardware and they put some type of crazy lock? We don't know it, right? We don't know at all.
Oh, definitely.
There's no way they would do that, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Would you buy a car that you haven't test drive yet? And if you do, then good for you. But, the average person should be waiting for, tests to be done, official build releases, because right now there's a lot of bricks being milled to people's houses right now.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. So, what do you think you might be able to share as far as the specs, as far as what games and what systems will be able to run smoothly with this new advancement in tech?
What I think is that it's going to be compared to, I believe, the XU4 in performance-wise. I strongly believe that. But I know this is an out there kind of thing. I think the Pi 4 is going to outperform the XU4 is because Retropie officially supports the Raspberry Pi. So there's going to be more advancements in the build and the software and all that compatibility wise over the XU4. Because right now the only two builds that are kind of Retropie related is the build by ORA, I believe their names are, right?
Right, yeah.
And then my team, the Supreme team, right? So there's an emulation station version, and then there's a track mode version out there, right? And the reason why we made a track mode version is because we don't want to step on anybody's toes. We're not in it for the competition. We just want to have the community to have, a choice between what build they choose, right?
Right. And it looks like we have a comment here in this section. We got Elliot Davis from the UK. Will this be able to emulate the Saturn, Jaguar, and GameCube?
Think of what the XU4 can do right now. Compare it to that, because that's what I'm thinking is going to be the compatibility list. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we all know the build out for emulation station for the XU4 has a lot of ups and downs because people have to test it, find a problem, and then the team fixes it and gets it working, right?
Right.
But it's going to be a long time before games are. Right now, as we speak, I believe what's going to happen is the Raspberry 3 is going to outperform the Pi 4 for a couple weeks until developers tweak their emulators to work on the Pi 4 and take advantage of that hardware, right? It's not just going to be, I updated my build, everything should work now. No, because the software is not taking advantage of what the Pi 4 has because the emulators are not, tweaked to that. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Take advantage.
Right. Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting because I sent out a request in a couple of the forums, which current retro games occupy or utilize the dual display image, and I can only think of one off the top of my head, and that was the X-Men 6-player game. I know there's an option in MAME where you can go in and hit dual split screen to have it show up on two screens. And I know that's kind of been impossible with the Pi. Even though, you'll see like Cyclops, was it Cyclops, Wolverine, and Colossus on one screen, and then obviously we don't have a second dual monitor set up to see that. But there was actually several games where you can utilize a dual screen or monitor hookup. So I think that's going to be different, cool for retro gamers, is being able to do that on a Raspberry Pi.
Personally, I'm sorry to say, I personally tell people just to wait. Just wait. This whole live stream, honestly, is for us to tell people to wait. If you think about it, you know what I mean? I just honestly think people should wait, right? It's just we don't know what it can run, what it can do, and if you're eating up the market with all these pies, like I guarantee there's gonna be resellers selling it for like $200-$300 because it's a rare item to get. But people, I honestly think everybody should wait. You know, like
yeah,
it's just a smart move to do. Because why would you buy something knowing that it might not work and then you return headache and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, that's perfect, and I'm glad you said that because I think while we're on the topic, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Retropie with a lot of the new people out there.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, man! Don't get me started with that.
Oh,
we have people telling us that N64 emulates perfect.
Oh. Well, I just want to say this, that for a lot of you guys who may not be aware, people who are usually against pre-made images and say, hey, just download a software yourself and make your own image. Well, little do you know that Retropie isn't really Retropie. A lot of Retropie is, if you think of Retropie, it's a development kit that's been provided to a community to make advancements and improvements upon. So even the current Retropie that you have, I believe like a lot of those video screens, clips, and other things, those were added by users in the community. So you're not getting a true version of an official Retropie. You're getting a Retropie that has been added to or approved upon by people in the community.
Yeah, like it has things like emulation station, attract mode, main, FBA, you know, so many different emulators have been added in there, right? And they're copyrighted material. To be honest with you, they are.
Right.
And how can you, to me, honestly, you're telling me about it. How is Retropie copyrighted and how did it pass? Like, to me, that makes no sense.
Oh, of course.
Like, if that was to be fought in court, I wonder who would win.
Yeah, that would be an interesting scenario.
Right?
You know,
because with the developer that has their hardware, like basically, let's say main. Let's say you wanted to apply to court and be like, hey, our stuff copyrighted makes so much sense. You added it into your front end, let's say front end, our permission.
Yeah, that's true because you guys even think about the video scripts that Dirty Gaming added as well with a couple other builders. That's something that was definitely needed for the Retropie community, but that's not something officially honored or acknowledged by Retropie. That was something a user in the community added.
Yeah, like even like, you know, things like there's great talented coders out there. Like Marty, for example, he has made some crazy advancements in the community for Retropie, and none of it has been, you know, taken into consideration into the Retropie official build. Same as Pi Nation, he's made some great work, right?
Oh yeah, and I think we got Pi Nation here in the chat too. He's listening.
Yeah, like things that the Pi community needs, like Retropie should have an online updater. I know they have one already, but one that is more diverse. You know what I mean? Like it gives you options to update a whole section, like chunks. Like I know Retropie gives you the option to update this, and this, but update one thing, like update just all the emulators, or update just the cores, or download a BIOS pack. I'm not saying add a ROM downloader. I'm saying you know, BIOSes and, you know, stuff like that, and configuration files. You know what I mean?
Right. And you guys know this too. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but I also am in the arcade 1UP forums as well. And I just wanted to show you guys some other continued pictures here I have of my build. And my personal feeling about retro gaming is that it's needed to advance. And a lot of the cabinets, and I'm just talking about regular cabinets and stuff, because we obviously know that Dave and Buster's and other companies, they have their own little thing going on. But typically you've had one, two, three, four, either 4 players or 2 players in front of a monitor. And that's been it. And, with us getting larger in size over the years, and cabinets staying the size, the same, size, same length, it really hasn't given us arm length. And so, what you guys are currently looking at right now has been one of my design specs for a new type of cabinet, in where you have a multi-monitor support. And it's ironic that Raspberry Pi has gone in that direction of dual monitor support, because with my build, you could fit 8 comfortably around it. You could still put joysticks and stuff on the side, as far as something on the side, so that way first and fourth player, for example, aren't looking at the screen from an angle. However, they have their own monitor either positioned on the left or right side of the cabinet. And so that's been one of my passions and belief, is that the gaming community in itself has needed to upgrade in terms of.
What I'm actually interested in is there's a script out there that everybody may have heard of it, because the Supreme Unified build is actually one of the first builds to have it, is because it was created by myself, Jason, and Pi Wizard. Is we made a script called Video Output. So the first version was made by myself, We're Dirty Gaming, and Jason. Jason, of course, is a great guy. He's been helping me, with ideas and stuff.
Right.
He's in the Retropie group as well. He's also known there. And we have Pi Nation that helped us with the second version, which is the optimized version. And that's a huge improvement in accessibility for a new user, because think about what it does already, right? And now that we have the dual HDMI, could you imagine what we can now do with the video output script? We can now...
Oh, of course.
We can probably now add dual monitor support into it, right? Make it where it displays Retropie into dual video out, right?
Right, and that's been my whole thing, is because what I did is not brand new. I mean, obviously, in the PC community, it's referred to as surround gaming, where you have multi-monitor support and everything's all stretched out through 3 or 4 different screens. And that's what my passion and my vision has been to do with my retro gaming cabinet, because it really hasn't changed.
But are you shocked at how I honestly, when I found out that Retropie, the base build, does not have a video output script built in, that was a little bit mind-blowing, because I didn't even think about it at first too, but I kept getting frustrated, right?
Right.
I went from 1080p TV to, just a standard TV. I have to change all the settings and PuTTY and SCP. It was just a headache, and that's from I'm an advanced user. I know how things work, but a new user, they wouldn't even bother. All the words are off the screen, or the picture looks funny. You know what I mean? It's all messed up. I plug in my VGA cable, or it's not displaying a picture. Like, there was so much headache out there, right? I was like, why don't they have that? So I talked to a few people. We made the first version, and then now the version that's out now, video output script optimized. Oh man, the amount of times.
Yeah, it's something that's desperately been needed, because that's actually one of the biggest problems or complaints is, hey, my video's hanging off the left side of the screen.
Oh my god, it was so bad. It was a lot of the Retropie. If you go to the Retropie website and look it up, there's a huge list of people. How do you do this? How do you change that? How do you do this? Even Retropie on Facebook, like the groups like Retropie, Retropie Official, Super Retropie, Super Pi, Retropie fan page. Like if you just type in video, just the word video search bar, thousands and thousands of people complaining or needing help on how to fix their video output. When I seen that, I was like, whoa. we got to make a script, man, because this is crazy.
Yeah, and that's why I was really backing it, and that's when I said, hey, like, everything before this is pretty much obsolete, because there's plenty of videos out there on how to manually go into your config text and edit your video files and stuff, but click of a button to go in and fix it, it made all those other videos and tutorials obsolete. But it was something that's desperately been needed by the community. And I don't know if some of you guys have been following my video series on how to modify your arcade cabinet, but I will be spending more time on images and how-tos as far as configuration, because we see questions from that all day long. I mean, in our group and through several of the other forums, there's not a lot of questions on paint jobs and joysticks and things of that nature, but my stuff isn't working. Light gun configuration.
Yeah, let's see what Pi Wizard's saying about the compatibility to the XU4. Like, that's a strong feeling I have. I have a strong feeling, like Pi Wizard even said himself, the specs are going to be, yes, there's different spec kind of variation. The XU4 and the Pi 4, I guarantee they're going to be very similar in performance and compatibility all day long.
Right. And that brings up another point, too, is even though this device physically and through looking at its specs are capable of possibly performing either on par or even better than the Odroid XU4, but if Retropie Official comes out with some software that makes it, that waters it down, some stuff may not be possible.
Yeah, like they see Pi Wizard even said too, that the scripts that we make for the community, it's all for the community. We don't make it for ourselves. Like the script me and Pi Wizard made for the video output. Like, man, it like you said, holy crap, man! Like, why didn't anybody think about it before, right? It's just like the most like mind blowing thing ever, right? Like, it's the most commonly needed thing. Like, when you have all those videos with arcade builds, all that, all absolutely, there's no point in watching it, right? You install the script, boom. Now you have a build that can work on any display. You just change you just click a button, boom, 720 1080p, VGA, all that. You just click it, boom, done.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, speaking of video, so do you think this new Pi will be able to support DisplayPort or up to 144 hertz?
I'm not too sure. Give another question here about from Pi Wizard here about the retro flight cases. Like, oh geez, those are not going to be compatible no more.
Which aspect of that?
The NAS, the SNES cases with the way they plug in, the power cables plug in and that. Now it's USB.
Oh yeah. So all those cases and stuff are now obsolete. So you guys will have to buy new cases and everything to go along with this.
It's a money grab.
Yeah. So all your charging ports, even if you had something laying around at home that had the micro USB adapter or whatever, and you just use a standard port. So everything now has changed. And, my only concern is, too, with the USB 3.0, and I don't think it's too much of a major concern, but it could create a problem, is I use two devices called the Titan 2 and also the Chronos Max. And I didn't have a problem on my Odroid, but supposedly when you're using devices like that, you're only supposed to use them for USB 2.0 and not for USB 3.0. Supposedly it won't work, but I have seen that it does. Do you think, even though the USB 3.0 is faster, that it may cause some configuration problems when people are using certain joysticks?
Yes, it is. There's going to be some type of weird compatibility issue. Like we all know, PlayStation, Xbox controllers, or PS4 and Xbox One controllers, they can be very, very kind of finicky with the Pi.
Right.
There was a little issue. It didn't last long. RetroPie, I think, fixed it right away. Where if the PlayStation drivers were installed with the Xbox drivers, the PlayStation drivers wouldn't work, and it was something to do with the USB drivers being installed. And I think that I think it's fixed now. I'm pretty sure, because on the Pi 3 I have, the Xbox One and PS4 controller are both synced, and they both work. I just turn the Pi on, and they both work. Before, I had to uninstall the Xbox driver and install the PS4 driver back with the controller. And it wouldn't, it'd be a headache. And that was to do with the USB port, like the way it was configured and all that weird stuff. So
Okay. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions out there in the forum? I see Wolfanos is also in here.
I'm just excited as a builder. I'm pretty sure people like, Level 1 Online, yourself, Wolfanos, Pi Wizard will appreciate the speeds now. So when you're building a Retropie build, which Retropie doesn't like people doing, because as we see, they either flag your video, take you down, or tell you to Google it.
Right, of course.
Builders are going to like this a lot because now they have the high 5G Wi-Fi, the USB 3.0. So transferring files back and forth, it's going to be a breeze now, right?
Oh, definitely.
The average time that it took to make a Retropie before adding, media files, let's just keep it simple and call it media files, it took a very long time. A very long time, right? Like, how long did it take you to make your arcade build, right? You didn't even have that much media to add. It took you 2 weeks, a week, just to add everything?
Yeah, it took a few hours. I mean, to add everything and make sure everything's running right, make sure all the ROMs. But I will say it did take a while to add all those Daphne games.
Great question, Pi Wizard. What is Retropie?
Oh, shit.
Like Keo said, it's everything, right?
Yeah, we're not going to go into that topic. That's a topic for a whole nother day.
Yeah, we'll be here all day talking about legal jargon because how they got that copyright they're just kind of just
yeah, the trademark. All right, guys. So I think that about does it for us. If there's any more questions, but as you see here on the page, you can see you could get your base Pi 4 gigabyte board for $55. And they have all the kits that run all the way up to $119.95. Just make sure you have an ample power supply because if you already do have a Samsung phone or a Samsung drive, that USB Type-C connection is already compatible. In addition, if you already have memory cards, you won't need that. But make sure you
also, people that have a Nintendo Switch, I'm not too sure what the charging cable that is for, but I'm sure that would work too, right? People have Nintendo Switches with that USB-C.
Yeah, that would work, but of course, I mean, I'm not sure how that connects with that the power supply.
I don't personally know the voltage either, but I do know I do have a Nintendo Switch charger, like the brick and everything, and it's like I have the brick with me actually right now in my hand, and it's let me see here, it's 5 volts. 3 amps. So there you go. Perfect. So I do have a Nintendo Switch charger here right now with me. USB-C.
Okay.
And it's 5 volts, 3 amps. So if you have Nintendo Switch and you have that USB cable that you can buy on the side, that would work too.
All right. All right, guys. Well, you heard it. So go ahead and order your Pi 4 if you can. I know most of them are currently out of stock. I don't see them for sale yet on Amazon website. There are 3 or 4 additional resellers online that you can order directly from. And again, remember again, this Raspberry Pi 4 will have 4 gigabytes of memory, quad-core 1.5 gigahertz processor. Has some other updated specs as far as the Bluetooth, I believe is 5.0, 5 gigahertz, and also an improved Wi-Fi signal as well. But if you guys are using this specifically for gaming, please wait or follow us on the Retropie official page on Facebook for updates. Because if devs can't get it to work, then you pretty much have already bought a brick. And I hope,
like that's what we've been saying the whole video is like just wait. Like myself, I won't have one for a while, so I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that another developer that either has the money or is lucky enough to buy one and be able to get Retropie ported over, because it doesn't matter who does it. To be honest with everybody, it doesn't matter who does it, as long as the community gets a hold of Retropie and enjoys their retro gaming. That's all it's ever been about. But as we all know, there's some people out there that just don't like the word ROMs.
Yep, that's very true.
But they like to sell side plates, with legal printing,
That's true. All right, guys. Well, that's Dirty Gaming. Make sure you guys check out his YouTube channel. We're Dirty Gaming on YouTube. I believe he also has a Facebook page that's on that's open as well.
Yeah, I'm back finally.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask us. We are available to address some of these concerns and ignore the rumors. And also, one of the reasons why the group was started was to eliminate a lot of misleading and false information going on out there with ROMs, things that either work or don't work. So if you guys need a trusted source for information, I know a lot of people are in other modding groups and whatnot, and they try to discuss these things. But if you want clear, concrete information, make sure you hit up Retropie Official on Facebook if you guys want some clear-cut answers where most of the devs are.
There, right? There's actual builders there that, you know, because a lot of groups ban builders. We all already know this, that there's a lot of Retropie groups out there that do this, because as soon as you mention something with media, loaded, ROMs, whatever, they kick the builder out, and you can't get concrete information. It'd always be, hey, Google it.
Right.
The group Retropie Official, which Keo, myself, I mean, lots of developers. There's Damaso, there's Wolfino, there's Pie Wizard. Well-known developers are part of it, and we're there about all. We're not where we say, hey, you know what, just Google it. That's actually a rule you have in your group. Not say that, because it becomes static. A lot of new users, what you do is Google it. It's not going to get anybody there.
That's true. Absolutely true. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, I know this video was kind of long, but we wanted to make sure we got the information out to you guys first. So as of right now, as it stands, this is basically a paperweight or a brick. Retropie will not work. We will try to get it to work. So unless some devs come out with it, then that's where you're going to be standing right now, is waiting in line, waiting to get something to work if you're using this for retro gaming. So again, guys, thanks for listening to us and enjoying the broadcast. And I hope you guys consider subscribing, and I will catch you later.